Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2022 Hyundai Elantra N. Now, some might say this is M-inspired. Let's get started. We get started in the front and we can see this thing is unique. It does have catfish vibes, yes, I know, but this looks incredible. I do like the fact that Hyundai said, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and just do the design we love, and it really shows. I like that they're not kind of fitting in this more quieter design space, so to speak. We went big and bold. So a couple of things. The headlights are really nice. I do love the swooping design. The LED system is incredibly bright in the darkest of nights. So it is a really nice headlight system. This blue is incredible. This thing stands out in a sea of grays and whites and blacks. So it really does look nice. And this, so there is a lot of going on with this grille. So there is massive openings and there are some kind of closures here. And I was thinking, okay, usually I hate, bumpers that have this or front grills that have, kind of a closed off area. But I think you kind of need this because there's so much opening that you probably wouldn't even have a front grille or a front bumper if we were to open everything. Plus, I'm sure aerodynamically, it kind of pushes the air where it needs to go. But this is really, really good front end. And that front little spoiler here with that little red accent line, such a great touch. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have under this hood. We get under the hood and we have the 2.0 liter inline-4 twin-scroll turbocharged engine cranking out 276 horsepower and 289 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to the 6-speed manual transmission, and this is a front-wheel drive drivetrain. Now, there is a lot to this. So first of all, let's start with the engine. 4-cylinder, really can get going. That turbo is really good. It gives you power on the low end. We do feel a little bit more of a kick, maybe at about 4,500 to about 5,000 RPM. We do feel an extra kick in power. That might have to do with obviously the model of the turbo. But yeah, this is really, really good. The engine sound is partially artificial, but it's not in a bad way. It does still make sounds in the exhaust, crackles, pops, and bangs and that stuff. But yeah, inside of the cabin, you can choose the different modes. I've had it at TCR because that little thing sounds awesome. And it sounds really good through the speaker systems in this. Yes, I know. But it does it in a way where it sounds natural. It doesn't feel like it's obviously coming in through the speakers. But yeah, the power delivery to this is really good. It's been really surprising. That 6-speed manual, it's been a lot of fun. I love being able to, switch my own gears. It's been a while, minus my Miata, but this has been a blast. The clutch, the only thing is, yeah, if you have thick-soled shoes, it is a little bit weird to find the engagement point, but once you kind of get some thinner-soled shoes, you'll be able to catch it really quick or feel it significantly more. But yeah, overall, this has been a really good transmission. Now, the limited slip differential, yeah, this has been really good. Just everything is just so incredible. It's been a blast. And all the drive modes as well. If you don't want to be loud and obnoxious, even though, yeah, this car visually is kind of loud and obnoxious, you can go into eco mode and it really, really tames the sound. Everything is really quiet and it behaves really, really good. You put it in N mode and this thing wants to scream. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have in those wheels and tires. We get down to the wheel and tire package and we have this nice 19-inch wheel design, and it is wrapped in the 245/35 Michelin Pilot Sport S. Now, these wheels, again, look really good. I love the fact that we have that flat black kind of colored insert in there with the more polished face on there. It is a unique design, so I do like that. So yeah, it's really good. And then the other thing is these tires. So it's funny because the paperwork for it says summer tire only. It like keeps repeating it multiple times. And I'm glad it's summer. It is really, really hot out here, but these tires really love the heat. No issues with grip. The noise is actually really good for more performance, especially with the sidewall at a 35. Yeah, it was actually really good at absorbing the road. Now, the other thing, these brakes are incredible. I haven't had a brake pedal feel this good. The feedback, the pressure itself, the performance of it, getting this guy stopped, it has been incredible. And I've driven some really high performance cars, and this has been the most impressive braking system I've really driven or I've used. It's so good. Yeah. And also that limited slip differential, I don't know how Hyundai does it. I don't know how they do it to get this front wheel drive car feeling like a all wheel drive or even rear wheel drive really car. It just rotates really good. It's sorcery. It really is. Like it's short of sorcery. It really is that damn good. It's impressive. And the suspension, you put it in eco mode and you put it in the soft mode for the suspension. It's great. It feels great for everyday driving. You put it in Sport Plus and this thing is awesome. You feel the road the way you're supposed to with a performance vehicle. So it's astonishing. It really is astonishing at how good this wheel, tire, suspension, brake, and differential have been. It's awesome. Let's go ahead and see what we have on the side. We get to the side and we can see this thing is incredible. Hyundai design team, you guys have really outdone yourselves. This looks beautiful. I love the proportions. I love the overall shape of it. You guys are doing a great job. We get started on the front and we can see a little bit of that headlight kind of peeking through the 19-inch wheels that really fill the wheel well, and a little bit of that front kind of lip in the front with the red. Loving that. And again, just channeling that N red on the side. It just looks really, really good. And this blue just looks incredible. The other thing, you guys may not see it, depends on the light, but there are some great body lines here and here as well. It just does something really good to this side profile that just makes it really aggressive. And again, we have kind of that line just kind of peeking back out here and down there. So yeah, there's a lot of great design cues to this. The black framing, love it. Always big fan of black framing around the windows. We have a little bit of a little kind of plastic thing here. It does nothing, it's just aesthetics, but it still looks good. It looks racy. Yes, it's a little bit more boy racer kind of feel to this, but it looks really good. Now let's go ahead, and I have the key fob in my hand. I'll go ahead and lock. Now the only thing is, this doesn't have a camera system like we don't have in the front. So it is a bare bones, just rear camera. So we're not gonna get any fancy 360 degree or fancy mirrors really. In fact, yeah, it's a manual mirror. So we do have that. But key fob in my pocket, I go ahead and reach in, and immediately it senses that I touched it and it will unlock. And then I can just go ahead and press the little button and it locks. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the back door. And now we're gonna save a little bit of weight there and not have a sensor. So you are having to kind of do this and then open up. Yeah, kind of a little bit of a letdown. Small detail, but yeah, just would be nice. And you do have to lock it in the front. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have back there, because yeah, I didn't mention that little spoiler, but it's a lot of fun. We get to the back and this thing is incredible. I love the very angular shape of the rear of the Elantra. It looks great. These taillights, you guys had a lot of fun designing that because again, I love the transparent outer plastic to really show some really nice design elements on the inside. And this one really takes the cake. I love that it actually turns into the body line at that point there. But yeah, this just looks really good. The spoiler. This spoiler, yes, it's very boy racer. yes, it's kind of attention attention grabbing, but it looks really good. I love the shape of it. It does remind me of the TRD models for the Camry and the Avalon. That aero looks really good in those, and it looks really good in this as well. So it definitely has a nice touch to it. Then we come over here and we have a little bit of plastic, but we have the aero down here, kind of this rear diffuser back here. We have a little light down there, and the exhaust tips. Yes, the exhaust tips are real. Yes, they are loud when you want them to be. Yes, they can be quiet as well. But yeah, this rear looks so good. And we do have, again, the backup camera, the only camera system that this has. But I'll go ahead and push this guy in there. We open up, and there is a good amount of space. But that wasn't the only surprise. So we do have some bracing that is behind the back seat of the Elantra. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what really attributes to how rigid and how, you know, rear wheel drive feeling this car is. It's just really, really good. It's been astonishingly good. So yeah, go ahead and close. Now we take a look at the key fob, and we're not going to have a remote start in this because this is a manual, 6-speed manual. So we obviously can't use a remote start. So let's hop in because it's getting really hot. We get inside of the Elantra, and yeah, this is all about go. So let's get started on the door. The door, a couple of things. It does have kind of a cheap, borderline cheap plastic at the top. So the feel of it is not the most premium, but for the sake of probably weight saving, I'm assuming. I don't know if the other Elantras, the non-N, have that, but yeah, it felt a little cheap on the top. But then we go super premium with the micro suede or like Alcantara type of material here, which kind of confused me. Yeah, but it looks so nice. It feels real nice. It has kind of like little dimples here to kind of add a little accent. We have the little tweeter there. Maybe the tweeter could have done a little bit better as far as, like, you know, just a plastic, cheap plastic again. But yeah, the armrest was comfortable, no issues there with that on there. Then we get over to the seats, and boy, these things are incredible. They are not big boy friendly, so I am having to kind of squeeze myself in here a little bit. So lay off the brisket, lay off the tacos if you want to be comfortable in these. They're not too bad though, so I definitely made a long road trip in this, and I was fine. I didn't have any complaints really about how the bolsters was probably the only big thing, but other than that, these things are awesome. The N here does illuminate when you unlock it. I believe also when you have the lights on. Let's see. Yeah, so it is a really nice design there. I do love the shape of them. Again, we have that kind of micro suede Alcantara feel to them in the middle, and they just look really, really good. Yeah. Then we get over to the steering wheel, and the steering wheel is very involved. There is a lot going on to this wheel. First, let's talk about the material. So we have a nice leather feel to this. We have the dimpled leather on the sides where you grab, and then just kind of the smooth leather at the top and the bottom. It's not a flat bottom steering wheel, so yeah, I would have liked that. That would have been a nice touch to this, but it still is a really nice wheel. The feel, kind of the squeeze to it is a little bit on the stiffer side, but the leather material itself is nice and smooth. Then we get to the buttons themselves. On the left side we have a lot of buttons, same thing on the right, but on the left side we have the kind of the talking and the volume and radio controls. Those have been really good. I do like the way that these are laid out. They do kind of have a little bit of a swoop to them to kind of fit your finger in there real nice. The volume up and down, no issues there. And we'll get to that bottom one soon. On the right side we have the controls for the gauge cluster, for the cruise control, and all those goodies there. Then when we get a little bit lower, we have the N buttons. So these are the programmable mode buttons. So right now on the left side, when you push that, I do have my custom one, which is which will we'll take a look, and basically what that does is it lets me change between my custom one, which is a more tuned down version of a little bit more aggressive. That's how I've set it up. And then my right one is set to be my custom 2. So custom 2 is my bat out of hell mode minus the traction control, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, that's the you are able to program them to be different things, whether you want it to be a custom, whether you want it to be N mode, whether you want it to be eco mode, basically any of the modes, and you're able to customize those individual elements of it to get a custom mode. So yeah, we have that. Then we have my favorite button. We have, it literally says rev. That is the rev matching. This thing has rev matching, and it is so good. We'll take a look at that towards the performance side of things. But yeah, this thing is really nice. It's pretty damn red, and it's definitely in your face. Then we get to the gauge cluster. Now, one thing before we get to the gauge cluster, a little to the left, we have kind of a little screen, and there's kind of this sticker on there. Yeah, I think in the normal Elantra, I'm not too familiar with that model. I think there is something here, and it's kind of a shame that they omitted it from this, because I feel like this would be kind of useful to have miscellaneous info like maybe time, temperature, that kind of stuff right over here on the left. So not sure why that wasn't included in the N mode. I don't know, in the N model, I don't know if it's to save save weight or something, but yeah, it's a shame we don't have that on this. But the gauge cluster itself is nice. I do like the way it looks. Right now we'll go ahead and switch over to just kind of a normal mode or the eco mode. But yeah, we have, when you are in the eco or normal or sport, you do get just the kind of dual gauge on here. Unfortunately, because this doesn't have the cameras or the surround view kind of thing to this, when you turn on your turn signal, you don't get the fun things you usually get with the Hyundai Kia Genesis line, where you can see what's kind of in your blind spot through your gauge cluster. So I was kind of missing that. That would be nice to have in this, but I know it's a performance car, saving weight. Yeah, I know I'm asking for a lot. But yeah, we do have some great controls here. We have the info that we need. Nothing too bad. It's fine. It's fine, because where the fun happens is here in the infotainment screen. This thing is nice. I like the fact that it is significantly wider than it is taller. Kind of clears your view, isn't in your way. It's easy to reach to. It's just a really great screen. It's nice and bright. It's nice and sharp as well. And we do have a lot of fun things in here, and even just kind of getting out of CarPlay. We have the N modes. We have, this has valet mode. It's just really great things. What I love about Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis systems is there's a lot of little things that when you go into the menu and just kind of navigating, you find some really great things that's like, whoa, that's awesome. I definitely want to have that. It's not something where you kind of need, or you don't really know you need till you find it, and it's like, whoa, that's definitely what I need, as opposed to something where it's like, I need to get to my climate and I have to press 10 buttons to get to. No, not in this case. You have your climate down here. But yeah, there's really great things in this. You could really do a whole video on just this whole kind of setup with this screen. We come down here a little bit more. We have the AC controls, very simple, very straight to the point. No complaints there. Yeah, it's been really hot here, so we've been on blasting and cold all the time. Then we get a little bit lower, and we have the USB charger, and we have the wireless charger for my phone. Yeah, you're gonna get some points deducted because this does not have wireless Apple CarPlay. So I do have to plug in, which again, if you're gonna give me a wireless charger, give me a wireless Apple CarPlay. So I'm having to run my cable in here, and yeah, it's kind of pointless to have a wireless charger but not have wireless communication with that. So that's kind of been a bummer. Then we have our drive modes, which we can switch into eco, normal, and sport, and then we unlock it by holding it down to give us the N mode. We come a little bit back, and yes, we have a 6-speed manual. Let's go ahead and shift into the 6th gear, but this thing is incredible. The shifter feels so nice. It really does. It looks awesome. I love the design. I love the shape of it. Everything is really good. The reverse kind of lockout, so to speak, is really good as well. It's just a really good shifter. The gears feel awesome to go through. We come a little bit more back, and we have a handbrake. Yes, we don't have an electronic handbrake. We have a manual handbrake, which is nice. It's nice to have one of these. It's really good. It's actually ergonomically placed for me to kind of rest my hand when I have my arm on the armrest. So it is a good feeling. Then we come over to the side, and we have the cup holders, and they're okay. They're a little bit on the kind of afterthought in this, and also this massive, I don't know what this is. My wife goes, "Why is this here?" I go, "Oh yeah, that's probably the O handle." And she goes, "Why would I need that?" Dropped a few gears, and then she realized why. But yeah, I don't know. It just looks really kind of intrusive. It's just massive. It's massive for kind of what it's supposed to be or should be. Yeah, maybe remove this, and the cup holders would definitely be a little bit better. Then we come a little bit back to the armrest itself, and the armrest is comfortable. We kind of go in here. There's not much space to it, so a small box would really fit in there. Nothing, yeah, like a purse or something small, nothing too big. We go to the back seats, and the back seats are really comfortable. There's a good amount of space back there, so I was really surprised. My kiddo has been loving it back there. No complaints from him as far as space, and yeah, you can really, the seats are really great looking as well. So yeah, you guys did good, Hyundai. And then we get to the trunk area, and the trunk area is big. The trunk area was pretty big. I was impressed. And again, those rear braces just look so awesome. It was a nice surprise the first time I put something in the trunk, and I was like, whoa, what is this? I go, what's this shiny red stuff? And I was like, oh, okay. So we are really gonna go performance-wise with this. So it's not just a badge, a trim, or a looks trim. So they're really going out on this Hyundai. So this Elantra definitely is getting that great treatment to it. So glad to see that. Now let's talk performance. We're dealing with the 2.0 liter twin scroll turbocharged inline 4. It is cranking out 276 horsepower and 289 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to the 6-speed manual transmission, and this has their electronic limited slip differential to then go to the front wheels. Yes, this is a front wheel drive car, but it doesn't feel like a front wheel drive car. This feels like a all-wheel drive car or a rear wheel drive car. It's insane. It's insane how well that differential just rotates the car. I think understeer is the least thing I've experienced in this vehicle. So let's take a look at a couple of things. We are going to switch over to my N mode, which is already set up. We will go to the N settings here, so you guys can see kind of what we're doing. So there's a lot of things. We can see the throttle. We can see, how much I'm putting, how much of the brake I'm putting there. We can see our tachometer, which it's a digital screen. It is a little bit on the delayed side, so focus on this one instead of this one. The other thing as well is you can set up a circuit. So if you're at a circuit, it can get your telemetry information. And if you don't, you all can always use a race box. Like, shameless plug. You have the lap timer, that stuff. And then you come over here, and this is where you can really customize and set all your things. Your engine, your steering, your limited slip differential, your traction control, suspension. It really is everything. Your rev matching, so your G-forces, everything. Now we're gonna do launch control, and it is a little bit tricky. So you do have to turn on the traction control. We do have to be in N mode. We do have to have ESC Sport turned on. We put in the clutch, we go into first, and you have to hammer it. You really have to hammer it immediately so that it holds it, and then you just go. Yeah, it's a little tricky. It took me a couple of tries and figuring out what's going on. So you can't ease into the gas. You have to just kind of hammer it while obviously you have the clutch in to activate the launch control. Now you are able to change it from, you do have different modes of RPM range. You do have, I think the lowest is like, yeah, probably nothing. But yeah, you have 2,500, and I think you can do all the way to like 5,000, which is insane, because even at the 3,500 that I just set it there, we did have a little bit of a pretty aggressive wheel hop. So just kind of be aware of that, when you go to do your launch. But yeah, it's letting me go all the way to 5,000. Maybe not what you want for your mortar bounce in the front or anything really. But yeah, so this thing has a ton of just performance fun things. Let's go ahead and switch it to, so we are in N mode. We will go ahead and, now one thing I did notice is the traction control in sport mode, that has been the best, kind of the best feeling to this. So I took it off all the way, and yes, that's when it was definitely not as great in the sense of getting the power down. The full ESC is completely, yeah, it's not too bad, but it really is gonna cut the power down for you. ESC Sport is definitely a great feeling to it. So let's go ahead and, yeah, this thing sounds mean. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. Yeah, it is so good. It is so good at going. And my favorite thing, stopping. This thing is incredible at stopping. The brake pedal feel is just so good in this. I've never felt a brake pedal this good in all the cars that I've driven. And I've driven some pretty high performance vehicles. And to see that I'm getting this in a Hyundai is insane. Yeah, it just feels so confidence inducing. And in that corner, it just goes. We have the little chiming for the revs to shift, which is a nice little touch there. And yeah, we're gonna get down to second gear, and it rev matches so it doesn't unsettle the car. But yeah, this thing is incredible. Yeah, I've been super impressed with how this handles, how it drives, how it feels, everything, how it brakes. How it brakes is insane. And that's brakes to slow down, not to break down. But it's just so good. It does not feel like a front wheel drive car. I think besides the brakes, that limited slip differential is insane. It's insane at how good that thing just gets this guy turning. It really is. I have never had so much fun in a front wheel drive car. Yeah, it's insane. I don't think I've had this much fun in some rear wheel drive cars. It's insane. It's insane how good this thing can go, and how it can rotate, and how it can stop, how it can do everything. And then the best part of it is if you go into eco mode, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine, and it just kind of calms down and behaves and is not a problem. It's just really good. Yeah, that's a big tractor. But it's just really good. This is a blast. And then the other thing that's funny is my wife goes, "This is easy to drive your manual, right?" And I said, "Yeah, this has actually been really easy." Why? She goes, "Because I can feel that you're more confident in this than you are in like another car that, first time, those figure out where the clutch engagement point kind of thing is, but not in this." So this has been really good. Now, the big thing with this is I do have thinner soled shoes, because when I did have thicker soled shoes, the engagement point isn't as defined. But once you get to a thinner soled shoe, like a Puma kind of racing kind of shoe, it does feel good. It does feel good. You can feel the point of engagement. So there definitely is that. So I wish it were a little bit more defined, but the clutch feel overall has been great. The throttle response has been incredible. The suspension is so good. again, I have that kind of a little bit in between of like some things real high performance, others a little bit less tame, because when I had it in full sport plus mode, the suspension can be a little bit stiffer, and she's like, oh my god, this thing is you know, like I can feel everything on the road. So I said, okay, perfect. So I just reprogrammed that other N button to be you know, softer suspension, but still had my other fun things like the engine and the differential and the exhaust sound. So yeah, that's a cool thing about having this. But this has just been so much fun. I can't believe how much power, and the power just feels so smooth. We do get a little bit more of a kick at about 5,000 RPM, so I do kind of feel like the turbo fully comes in at that point. But other than that, though, the power is pretty damn linear, and it just sounds so good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've had a blast in this. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Hyundai Elantra N. Yes, those pops are so good. And remember, find the right gear. And yeah, this one has 6. See ya.